2Chronicles 20. I read from the Institute for Scripture Research, the ISR, because it takes a direct translation from Hebrew to English, Greek to English, and Aramaic to English. Yah is the Elohim of the heavens and the earth, the first and the last and the only, and he's an extremely jealous El. He's so jealous that he doesn't even want the names of idols or mighty ones to come to our lips. Yah is short for YahWeh, YahWeh, Yod-He, Vav-He. There's no difference. It's like saying Dan, Daniel, Daniel with an E. What is the difference and does matter is when people say that Phil, Bob, Sam, and Aaron are the same name, when no, they're not, and no one in their right mind would ever believe that. Only a fool would believe that a hammer could force its creator to do anything. There was no letter J in the Hebrew, Greek, or Aramaic text because the letter J is only about 600 years old, while the son of Elohim, Yehoshua, died on a stake for the sins of all of humanity over 2,000 years ago. And in direct translation from Hebrew to English, Yehoshua is Joshua, and I strongly believe that the son of Elohim's name, Yehoshua, means Yahweh is salvation. 20. Excuse me. And after this, it came to be that the children of Moab, M-O'-A-B with a line underneath of it, and the children of Ammon, A-M-M-O-N, came in, and with them some of the peoples against Jehoshaphat to battle, and they came and spoke to Jehoshaphat, saying, a great army is coming against you from beyond the sea, from Aram, and see, they are in Hatzatzon, H with a dot, A-T-S-A-T-S-O-N, Tamar, Hatzatzon Tamar, I believe is the full thing. Tamar is T-A-M-A-R, which is En-Gedi. N is E with a half a check mark N, and then Gedi is G-E-D with a line underneath of it I. And Jehoshaphat was afraid and set his face to seek Yahweh and proclaimed a fast throughout all Yehudah. And Yehudah gathered to inquire of Yahweh. Even from all the cities of Yehudah they came to seek Yahweh. And Jehoshaphat stood in the assembly of Yehudah and Jerusalem in the house of Yahweh in front of the new courtyard and said, O Yahweh, Elohim of our fathers, are you not Elohim in the heavens, and do you not rule over all the reigns of the nations? And in your hand is there not power and might, so that no one is able to stand against you? Are you not our Elohim? Have you driven out the inhabitants of this land before your people Israel, and gave it to the seed of Abraham, who loves you forever, and they dwell in it, and have built you a set-apart place in it for your name, saying, if evil does come upon us, such as the sword, judgment, or pestilence, or scarcity of food, we shall stand before this house and in your presence, for your name is in this house, and cry out to you in our distress, and you do hear and save. And now see the children of Ammon and Moab and Mount Seir, S-E with a half a check mark, apostrophe I-R, whom you would not let Israel invade when they came out of the land of Mitzrayim, for they turned from them and did not destroy them. And see, they are repaying us by coming in to drive us out of your possession, which you have given us to inherit, so long as you follow the commands in the Torah. If you do not, then that is just a null and void agreement. O our Elohim, would you not judge them? For we are powerless against this great army that is coming against us, and we do not know what to do, but our eyes are upon you. And all Yehudah with their little ones, their wives, and their children stood before Yahweh, and the Spirit of Yahweh came upon Yahaziel, Y-A-H with a dot, A-Z-I apostrophe E with a half a check mark L, son of Zechariah, Z-E-K with a line underneath of it, A-R-Y-A-H-U, son of Benaiah, B-E-N-A-Y-A-H, son of Yael, Y-E apostrophe I apostrophe E with a half a check mark L, son of Mattaniah, M-A-T-T-A-N-Y-A-H, a Levite of the sons of Asaph, A-S-A-P-H, in the midst of the assembly. And he said, listen, all Yehudah, and you inhabitants of Jerusalem, and sovereign Jehoshaphat, Thus said Yahweh to you, do not fear, nor be afraid of the face of this great army, for the battle is not yours, but Elohim's. Go down against them tomorrow. See, they are coming up by the ascent of Sits, Tsits, and you shall find them at the end of the wadi before the wilderness of Yerul. Yeru apostrophe E with a half a check mark L. It is not for you to fight in this. Position yourselves, stand still, and see the deliverance of Yahweh with you. O Yehuda and Jerusalem, do not be afraid, nor fear, nor go against them tomorrow, for Yahweh is with you. Nor fear, go against them tomorrow, for Yahweh is with you. And Yehoshaphat bowed his head with his face to the ground, and all Yehuda and the inhabitants of Jerusalem fell down before Yahweh to bow themselves before Yahweh, and the Levites of the children of Kohathites, Quehathhites, and of the children of the Korhites, Qorh with a dot, Its, stood up to praise Yahweh, Elohim of Israel, with exceedingly loud voice. And they rose early in the morning and went out into the wilderness of Tekoa, Tekowa, and as they went out, Yehoshaphat stood and said, Hear me, O Yehuda, and you inhabitants of Jerusalem, trust in Yahweh your Elohim, and be steadfast. Trust his prophets and prosper. And after consulting with the people, he appointed those who should sing to Yahweh and who should praise the splendor of set-apartness, as they went out before the army and were saying, Give thanks to Yahweh, for his loving commitment is everlasting. And when they began singing and praising, Yahweh set ambushes against the children of Ammon, Moab, and Mount Seir, who had come against Yehuda, and they were smitten. Then the children of Ammon and Moab stood up against the inhabitants of Mount Seir to destroy and annihilate them. And when they had made an end of the inhabitants of Seir, they helped to destroy one another. And when Yehuda came at the lookout in the wilderness, they looked toward the army and saw their dead bodies lying on the ground, and none had escaped. And Yehoshaphat and his people came to take away their spoil, and they found among them a great amount of valuables on the dead bodies and precious jewelry, which they stripped off for themselves, more than they could take away. And they were 3 days plundering the spoil, for it was much. And on the 4th day they assembled in the valley of Beraka, Berak, with a line underneath of it, for there they blessed Yahweh. Therefore the name of that place was called the Valley of Beraka to this day. So you can look it up, the Valley of Beraka. That's awesome. I'm going to look that up after this, if I don't forget. Then they returned every man of Yehuda and Jerusalem with Yehoshaphat in front of them to go back to Jerusalem with joy, for Yahweh had made them rejoice over their enemies. And they came to Jerusalem with harps and lyres and trumpets to the house of Yahweh, and the fear of Elohim was on all the reigns of the lands which they heard that Yahweh had fought against the enemies of Israel. Then the reign of Yehoshaphat was at peace, for his Elohim gave him rest on all sides. Thus Yehoshaphat reigned over Yehuda 35 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 25 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Azubah, Azub with a line underneath of it, the daughter of Shilhi, Shilh with a dot I. And he walked in the way of his father Asa, and did not turn aside from it, doing what was right in the eyes of Yahweh. Only the high places were not taken away, for as yet the people had not prepared their hearts for the Elohim of their fathers. And the rest of the acts of Yehoshaphat, the first and the last, see, they are written in the book of Yehu, son of Hanani, which is mentioned in the book of the sovereigns of Israel. And after this, Jehoshaphat, sovereign of Yehuda, joined himself with Ahaziah, A-H with a dot, A-Z-Y-A-H, sovereign of Israel. He did wrong in doing so, and he joined himself with him to make ships to go to Tarshish, Tarshsh, and they made the ships in Etzion Geber, Etsyon, Geber is Geb with a line underneath of it, Er. Mersha prophesied against Jehoshaphat, saying, because you have joined yourself with Ahaziah, YahWeh shall break up your work, and the ships were wrecked so that they were unable to go to Tarshish. Interesting.